Throughout history, entire cities have vanished, not destroyed, not forgotten, just gone. Hidden beneath jungles, buried under sand, or just lost high in the clouds. And today, we're uncovering some of the most mysterious lost cities ever discovered. And we're starting with the most famous of them all, the legendary lost city of the Incas, Machu Picchu. Welcome to Patterned Reality. Hidden high in the Andes Mountains, above the clouds, lies a city that was never meant to be found. Machu Picchu is a 15th century Incan citadel, built around 1450 for the Emperor Pachacuti. Sitting 2,430 meters above sea level, it remains one of the most breathtaking archaeological sites on Earth. What makes this place so remarkable is how it was built. No wheels, no iron tools. Just perfectly cut stone, fitted so tightly not even a blade can pass through. These walls are earthquake resistant. When the ground shakes, the stones move, then settle back into place. Although locals always knew it existed, Machu Picchu was introduced to the world in 1911 by Hiram Bingham. Here's where it gets interesting. No one knows why it was built. Some believe it was a royal retreat. Others say a sacred religious site, or even a strategic checkpoint for the empire. But just 100 years after it was built, it was abandoned, possibly due to disease like smallpox or the collapse of the Incan Empire during the Spanish conquest. Strangely, the Spanish never found it. Key structures still there today are the Intihuatana stone, believed to be an ancient astronomical clock, the Temple of the Sun, which is aligned with the winter solstice, and the Temple of the Condor, called so because it's shaped like the wings of a sacred bird. The terraces were also engineered to prevent erosion and to feed an entire city. A city in the clouds, built with impossible precision and abandoned without explanation. Machu Picchu is just one of many lost cities. Hidden deep in the desert cliffs of Jordan lies a city carved straight into the stone, a place once lost to time and forgotten for centuries. This is Petra. The area around Petra has been lived in for thousands of years, as far back as 7000 BC. But the city we know today began around the 4th century BC, built by desert people called the Nabateans. They weren't just survivors, they were traders, controlling routes that moved incense, spices, sugars, and silk across the ancient world. At its peak, around the 1st century BC to 1st century AD, Petra became a powerful city, home to around 20,000 to 30,000 people. The Nabateans mastered something rare in the desert: water. They built advanced systems to collect and store it, turning Petra into a thriving oasis. But Petra's power didn't last forever. In 106 AD, it was taken over by the Roman Empire. Trade began to move by sea instead of by land, and the city slowly lost its importance. Then earthquakes struck, damaging what remained. By the 7th century, Petra was mostly abandoned. For centuries, the outside world forgot Petra even existed. Hidden deep inside canyon walls, it became nothing more than a legend, a lost city waiting to be found. Then, in 1812, everything changed. A Swiss explorer named Johann Ludwig Burckhardt heard rumors of a hidden city. To reach it, he disguised himself as a local man, calling himself Sheikh Ibrahim. He convinced a local man to take him there. He walked through a narrow canyon, known as the Sick. And then he saw it. Emerging from the darkness stood the most iconic structure in Petra, Al-Khazna, also known as the Treasury, carved directly into the rock, nearly 40 meters tall. Despite its name, it wasn't a treasury at all. Most believe it was a royal tomb. The name came from a legend. That treasure was hidden inside the urn at the top. You can still see bullet marks from people trying to break it open. With little time to explore, Burckhardt quickly noticed more incredible structures. A massive theater carved into the mountainside. A grand temple known as Qasr al-Bint. And endless tombs lining the cliffs. But his discovery would change history forever. Petra was no longer lost. Imagine living your normal day, eating, working, laughing, and within hours, your entire world is frozen in time. This is the story of Pompeii, a city perfectly preserved by disaster. Before disaster struck in 79 AD, Pompeii was a thriving Roman city, home to around 10,000 to 20,000 people. Life here was vibrant and social. Many people didn't cook at home. Instead, they ate at ancient fast food spots called thermopolia. Afternoons were spent relaxing in public bathhouses like the Stabian baths, not just to get clean, but for gossip and business. The streets were cleverly designed with raised stepping stones to avoid sewage and rainwater. And for entertainment, massive crowds gathered at the Pompeii amphitheater for gladiator fights and events. Then everything changed. Shortly after midday in 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted violently. A massive column of ash shot 20 miles into the sky. For nearly 18 hours, pumice stones rained down on the city, crushing roofs, trapping families inside their homes. Some tried to flee, others stayed, hoping it would pass. But the worst was yet to come. The next morning, the eruption column collapsed. Superheated waves of gas and ash called pyroclastic surges raced down the mountain at over 100 miles an hour. Temperatures reached hundreds of degrees. Anyone left in Pompeii died instantly. The city was buried under 6 to 7 meters of ash, completely sealed from the world. Just like that, Pompeii vanished, buried, forgotten for nearly 700 years. Until 1748, when explorers accidentally rediscovered it. What they found was astonishing. A city frozen in time. Even the victims remained, preserved in their final moments. Today, Pompeii is one of the most famous archaeological sites in the world. Visitors can walk the same streets, enter homes like the House of Fawn, and even see ancient bakeries with petrified bread still inside. And the story isn't over. Only about 2/3 of the city has been excavated. New discoveries are still being made today, including detailed frescoes and even private bath complexes. Pompeii is not just ruins. It's a snapshot of life, paused at the exact moment history changed forever. Imagine going to sleep one night in a powerful city, and by the morning it's completely gone. It wasn't abandoned and it wasn't destroyed, it was swallowed by the earth and the sea. This actually happened. The city was called Helike. Helike was once one of the most important cities in ancient Greece. It sat near the coast, in a region called Achaia, just a short distance from the sea. The city was rich, busy, and powerful. It even led a group of nearby cities known as the Achaean League. Helike was also famous for something else. A huge temple dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea and earthquakes. People traveled from all over Greece to visit it. This wasn't just a city. It was a place people believed was protected by a god. Then, something strange started happening. Days before the disaster, animals began to flee. Rats, snakes, and insects left the city in huge numbers. They moved towards higher ground, as if they knew something was coming. The people of Helike didn't understand the warning. Then, in the winter of 373 BC, during the night, everything changed. A massive earthquake struck the city. The ground cracked, buildings collapsed, and parts of the land began to sink. Moments later, a huge wave rushed in from the sea, a tsunami. It swept over Helike, smashing everything in its path. The entire city, and everyone in it, vanished. After the disaster, the city didn't just disappear completely. For years, people could still see parts of it under the water, walls, buildings, and even a statue of Poseidon. But over time, rivers carried mud and sand into the area, slowly burying the ruins. Eventually, Helike was forgotten, and its story became a legend, a real-life Atlantis. For 2,000 years, nobody knows where Helike really was. Many believed it was lost, deep under the sea. But in the 1980s, a new theory changed everything. Instead of searching underwater, researchers looked inland, and in 2001, they found it, not beneath the ocean, but buried beneath layers of mud and soil. Archaeologists uncovered streets, buildings, and everyday objects, frozen in time. They found broken pottery, collapsed roofs, and clear signs of sudden destruction. Beneath it all, they even discovered an older city from the Bronze Age. Helike wasn't just lost. It had been perfectly preserved. A powerful city, gone in a single night. Buried for thousands of years, and only recently found again. Helike proves something strange about history. Sometimes the greatest stories aren't myths at all. They're real. What if an entire civilization vanished in just one day? A powerful island, full of riches, technology, and ambition, wiped out beneath the ocean. This is the story of Atlantis. The story of Atlantis comes from a Greek philosopher named Plato, around 360 BC. But here's the thing. No one knows if he meant it as a real place, or just a story with a message. According to the story, Atlantis was huge, bigger than entire regions known at the time. It was designed in circles, rings of land and water, all perfectly built. At the center stood a massive temple in honor of Poseidon, the god said to have created the island. The city was filled with wealth, gold, rare metals, and massive buildings. And the people? At first they were okay, wise and fair, but over time that changed. The people of Atlantis became greedy and power-hungry, and according to the story, the gods had enough. In a single day and night, earthquakes struck, the sea rose, and Atlantis disappeared beneath the ocean. Gone. Forever. Some say Atlantis was inspired by a real disaster, like the eruption on Santorini thousands of years ago. Others say to look at the strange stone formations underwater, like the Bernini Road in the Bahamas. And then there's the Richet structure, a massive circular formation in the desert that's so huge, it can even be seen from space. Some say the shape and size matches the layout of Atlantis. Most experts believe Atlantis wasn't real. They think it was a story, a warning about power, greed, and arrogance. But not everyone agrees. Some believe Atlantis really existed, a lost civilization, far more advanced than we realize. A piece of history, buried beneath the ocean, still waiting to be found. So, was Atlantis real, or just a story? Maybe, one day, we will find out. Thank you for watching Patterned Reality. We hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.